Alright, we saw this on the internet, is that you could make what's called a bump key. And you can see here, this is our one that we've finished. And this is the one we're going to make a bump key with. And essentially what a bump key is, you take down each valley down to the lowest position. It's called the 9 position. And what that does is it allows all the pins to drop all the way down, and you've got your bump key out 1 notch. And what happens when you bump it real quick, it makes all the pins jump. And if you've got just a slight pressure to the side, when those pins jump, they'll jump into the right spot, and you can open up just about any lock with it. So we wanted to try making our own bump key and see if it would actually work. To make our bump key, we just grabbed a vise and a Dremel, and we had this multi-kit with the Dremel. It came with a small diamond tip wheel in it. We found it works for shaping out the keys real nice. You can get it rounded and get each one down. And then once we were done, we just sanded the edges, a little bit of burrs off there, and we had our bump key. Alright, with our bump key that we have made now, I wanted to show you the inside of a deadbolt lock and show you how the pins work here. So we've got the top here. We'll take off, and you can see there's actually 5 springs in there. This is what keeps pressure down. Use this to point here. This is what keeps pressure down in each pin to hold them all the way down. Alright, as you can see, the key has different levels for the depth, and these lower pins fit in those peaks and valleys. The springs keep it pushed down, so you can see that these pins, or these holes here, line up with these holes. See, this goes in here, and when those pins are lined up even like that, this thing is allowed to turn, because it's turning, it keeps the lower pins in here and the upper pins in here. But when they're lined up and the key is out, the springs actually push down any of the wrong ones. So you can see, I'll just show you one here since it's so delicate. So all these become along the bottom of that lock mechanism, making the middle between the top and the bottom pin not line up and not allowing this to turn. But when you put the key in there, it moves the correct pins in the right location, then allowing this to turn. So with a bump key, what this does is it lowers all the pins down to the lowest level, and you take it out one. When you bump it, it jumps all these pins, and hopefully with just the right amount of pressure, they'll jump into the right location and allow you to turn it.
Alright, so we've got our bump key made now. We use the Dremel to cut each notch to the 9 position, and you're going to want to make sure that those are rounded off so that when you put it in your door, it doesn't get stuck and it glides in and out easily. So now we're going to stick it in, pull out 1 notch, get something like a screwdriver. We're going to put a little bit of pressure on the top and hit it, and you're in that easy. You see it one more time. If we make sure this is locked, no getting in, stick our key in, pull it out 1 notch, put a little bit of pressure, and you're in that fast.
I think this will work fairly well. We want something that's going to be sturdy and not bend or break on us. So we're going to make it out of steel and not aluminum. I'm afraid that aluminum might bend as we're trying to either rake or pick this lock. So I picked out this piece of steel. I think we can make a few picks out of. Alright, so here we are at the CAD computer. And what we're going to try to do is draw up one of these picks and or rakes in the CAD program. So that way we're able to machine it out and try it out, see if it works. So I'm going to try to trace one of these out and design a toolpath for it for one of our machines out there.
Alright, so what we've done is we've created our pick in the CNC machine, and we cut off the end and used a sander to smooth it out a little bit. and we took some spare metal and made this tension wrench. So we're going to give it a shot here on this door and see if we can open it. And there we go. That's simple. Alright, so we're going to see if I can pick this lock in reasonable time. We already did bump key and braking, so all that's left is to pick it, and that's how simple it is.
We have here a master lock. Most of you have seen these. It's just got the rotary dial there to try to get in, and if you forget the combination, you're pretty much screwed to try to get in this thing. Well, we saw this video on the internet, and I thought I'd give it a try myself. We couldn't believe it actually worked. When they make these locks, there's actually a slight gap between where the metal bar goes in and locks inside. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this Coca-Cola can, ordinary can, we've got some scissors, and we're going to cut ourselves a small shim, and we're going to fold it in just the right way that we're going to be able to slip it in here and move that mechanism out so we can pull the lock open. Alright, we've cut a piece of metal out of our Coca-Cola can. And I'm going to cut a shim off here. Set that aside in case I lose or mess up this one. We're going to cut a basic M shape. So we're going to make one line a little more than halfway there, one line a little more than halfway here. And with this, start in the middle, round it up, and round it back. And if you make those round curves, it'll actually stand up a lot better and won't have a tendency to break on you as easy. Alright, so that's your basic, like I said, it's like an M shape almost, with the middle being rounded and then up here being a little rounded. So, what we're going to do first is we're going to fold this part up. Fold the back half up to the top of the middle of our M. Then we're going to fold that top part down. And this isn't going to be the best one in the world, but these we just kind of fold around. These are kind of like our handles. Now what we want to do is we want to make this thing round shapes. This is what's going to go around the shaft of the lock. And the more round you can get it to fit around that shaft, the better it will hold up on you. You can even use the actual shaft. Now I made this one a little long. It'll still work though. Now when you're going into the lock, looking at the lock like this, the side with the mechanism is on this side. So that's the side we want to put our shim down in. We want to put the shim down on the inside is where that mechanism is. So what I'm going to do actually, I'm going to come off to the side a little bit, push it down in, and it might take a few times. I usually try to pull it up a little bit, get it down in there, and you just want to rock it until you get it to the side. It might take a few times practicing with it. This one might be a little big. There it is. It opens up. Well, like I said, this one wasn't the most perfect one, but there's two different techniques you can use. One is to go off to the side, go down in, and rotate in. And the other one, which I found on this one works a little better, is just to go straight down in and wiggle. So those are the two techniques we found work the best, and that's how you bypass a master lock.